Hey, it's Bronwen, and I'm here with Leta Greene, the magnificent hotness, awesome, and Kelly Walker.
What's my title?
The mermaid unicorn princess. She's my chief awesomeness officer.
There you go. I like that.
I'm like, she has 3 titles.
Queen of manifesting.
Which is something we're going to talk about today, so I did that for humor.
Where are we looking? Is it there?
I feel pretty good about that.
Okay.
Yeah. A little hole over there.
Okay.
Bronwen's phone didn't work, so she's like, that'll be my next stretch.
I'm like, what do I need to learn
Okay.
from things going wrong?
Yeah.
It's
How
your
about-
stretching.
Yeah.
You're not in your
It's a
comfort zone. This is
It's
good.
awesome. Like, this is one of the best times of my life.
Yeah.
I take it. So we're doing the Tenacious CEO Entrepalooza. That's what this is about, okay? So on the September 27th through 29th, you're invited. And this is why. Because Leta and Kelly and I are all bringing
And some other amazing.
and some
I mean,
other
there's like
amazing.
awesome
Lots of
lineup.
other amazings.
Yeah.
Totally. Are bringing some really important things for you to help you increase your confidence, which at the baseline of everything, body, business, relationships, it doesn't matter what it is, that's the baseline. And
Yeah.
so we need to increase that baseline.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking this morning about speaking
Yeah.
and how important that is. And, you know, personally, I got a lot of supposed to's going on. I don't know what I'm doing. I get up there and I talk to my friends because I love them and that's what I do.
And I think that's good because we don't want to imagine the audience naked, the
Right.
typical advice, because that just makes everybody awkward.
That's,
You know, except us, of course.
Just
Yeah. Right, yeah, okay. Yeah. So, you were
know.
saying how people are saying you have to be super vulnerable and you have to cry and you have to...
yeah, I won a little prize the other day for speaking for a minute and a half, and the reason they told me I won is because I like dipped deep into emotional crap and I cried. And then, but I had a hard time pulling out of it. I don't like to go there. I don't want to. And Leta's like, "Oh, you don't have to."
Yeah.
I'm like, please do tell.
So that's what I like to say, is you give people a taste, but you don't jam it down their throat so they throw it up later. Like, you know, if they're here talking about you later as a speaker and they're all, oh my heck, and then they all died, but she came out and, you know, and
They missed the
that's,
point.
right, they're here, they're all fascinated with you and what you overcame. You want them to feel about what they can overcome. And so you've got to share the lessons. And so I was kind of sharing with Bronwen and Kelly how when I started speaking because God told me to. It was a complete surprise to me. I had no idea that I was so delightful.
You're so
You know?
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't something that I ever put my eyes on. It wasn't something that I had any desire to be public. So just that in of itself was pretty vulnerable for me. And my family culture was like, you know, don't be out there. And I'm a little bit,
Oh, are we a little too much?
I've been a little bit out there with it before I ever got on a stage. Just as a problem, you know. But it was so much more intriguing to me, and I know that I was guided by God on this, and I've seen the wisdom of it later where people are like, oh, Leta, you were so smart to structure your speaking like that. I branded myself as hotness, and hotness is a persona of what I believe about who you are as a person. You don't have to be looking perfect or even be perfect anyway. You can still have your hotness, and we can burn other people, or we can provide heat and security and all this kind of stuff, right? So
I love
oh,
that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so there's the wildfire
Brilliant.
that burns
Gold
out of
nugget.
control, then versus a campfire, and per molecule a campfire is hotter than a wildfire because it's in control of itself. So literally by speaking about the hotness, what makes you uniquely you, your confidence, your resiliency, your ability to love and give and serve other people, gave me like unlimited. You know, when at one point I was asked to go and speak in Armenia, and I thought I was going to be like an hour, right? No, it was going to be like 15 hours, and I was only a year into my speaking, and I'm like,
15 hours of speaking?
wow.
yeah, I was only a year in as a speaker, and it was like, stretch, right? And no big deal, but I was on TV in Armenia. I'm kind of a big deal in Armenia. No, anyway, I'm making a joke.
She's going to Australia.
Yeah, Australia's amazing. Gold Coast, Sydney. Okay. So had I spoke on what the obvious was in my life, I had recently, my husband had been hit by a bus, had a massive heart attack, died in my arms, came back to life. Then I was in a wheelchair. and then our daughter passed away. That I could talk just on the last 10 minutes of my daughter's life for an hour. But that's called a book, right? And when I'm up on stage and I've got moms in front of me, oh, I can make them cry, right? But instead, I just share this little snippet of my daughter so I can share this lesson that I learned from her, if that's appropriate for my audience. But if I'm speaking to the youth, it's not appropriate for me to talk about babies dying. I can make those kids cry, right? I can make them afraid to ever procreate. You're right? But I could create an emotional reaction from my audience. And the thing is, people think if people clap, they love you. Well, people will clap for people they don't love just because you're off the stage.
And they're so excited about that.
And you're not there yet until people are willing to hire you after speaking, right? So you still got to work on it. You still, working on your skill and getting there and getting better. And of course, there's the speak to self speakers. There's all this kind of about it. But if I had spoken on my daughter's death or her life and death, after you heard the story, you would have no need to hire Leta Greene again. And then my speaking career would have been over before it ever really started. And I've seen that happen with a lot of speakers, that they have their story. But if you're not teaching, I think if you're speaking for 10 minutes, 10% of it, so a minute, is about what your tragedy story. The rest needs to be what is in it for them.